Veto episode of this season of Big Brother USA All Stars number 22, if we're keeping score. I'm Dave Mader, joined by my brother Jeff here on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a whole hour and a half since our last podcast, coming off the heels of the original series rewatch over on Live Long and Podcast. But here on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting, it was the Veto episode. It's week 2, Jeff, and we have Memphis tonight in this episode, winning the Veto also, the reigning HOH. So all the power, all the glory, all the madness that comes with it.
Yeah, we're talking about a different kind of meow meow in this episode.
Yes, and this alliance of 6 that we thought was so strong, the new level 6, it has Tyler, it has 5 other people. How could it go wrong? But it's it's fracturing already. Like the whole alliance is gunning for him once he's not in power. They're ready to throw him to the wolves because they see him as playing both sides with Janelle and Kesar.
Yeah, who knew that it just took the wrong person in that alliance to win the HOH for everything to go to hell?
Right.
Any of the other 5 people win the HOH, they probably go for the back door. But Memphis is like this. I liked Danny's comment at the end of the episode when she was like, you're out here calling people rookies. Yeah, you're the one making the rookie mistakes, which, I think that's true. But at the same time,
very true.
It's like, Memphis, why don't you just go align with Janelle and Kesar if you don't want to take them out? Like, why are you on like the cool kids team? Like what are you doing, Memphis? I don't really get it. Like, it seems like you just want to be everybody's friend and don't want to be targeted, kind of like Cody was doing last week, but in a much worse way. Because, I mean,
yes.
but he does kind of make a good point, like in the fact that, like, why didn't you do it if you wanted those people out, Cody? You had a HOH last week, like Memphis makes the point to him, it's like, oh, you wouldn't do it, so why should I? And can't really fault his logic on that one because, like, it's true. When you're HOH and you win Veto, everybody wants you to do what they want you to do. And
totally.
Sometimes it's good not to do it, but it depends. Like, if you actually want to be in this alliance and you want to see it through long term, then do it. But I don't think he actually really trusts his alliance, and I don't think they trust him. And so it's so, to me, it's like, then make a new alliance, make an alliance with Kesar and Janelle, and be like the old school guys or whatever. Like work the house. What's Davon doing? What's Bailey doing? They're barely on the show. Like,
yeah. You're not wrong.
I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's like right now, if you just came, like, maybe Josh will have this opinion, but if you just came into the show, you would think there's only one alliance in the house, and it seems that to be the case.
Well, let's get a hot take in here because we're going to be bringing in our friend here, Josh Foster, in a short moment. Once he gets on camera, I'm going to bring him in. Here he comes. As we're going to be talking about his reaction to this episode. Jameel Robinson unable to be with us tonight. We have our new correspondent, Josh Foster, coming in for his debut on this second week of Big Brother. He's caught up. He's ready to talk. You may have seen him on the Survivor Foster rewatch series. It's Josh Foster. How are you doing tonight, Josh?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, boys. Thanks for having me last minute here. It caught me a good time. My curls are on point. And, just follow along with that Veto. And I want to first say this because I heard you at the tail end there, Jeff, as I was transitioning. So I was got the YouTube in the background while I was setting up here. I think Memphis is too scared because first of all, if he makes the move now, he's putting a target on his back super early in the game, right? But I think that in his mind, he's not sold on the 6th. I don't think he is.
Josh, not to we can hear you, but there's a bit of a reverb in your audio. Just to let you know, there's a bit of a like a clicking almost.
A clicking?
Yeah, it's almost when you speak. It's like a vibration of sorts.
Okay.
Jeff, can you hear it too?
It's his microphone. Yeah, I hear it. It's I'm guessing he's using his headphone.
Yeah, I'm using because the other headphones I tried that I have didn't work very well. Is it really that bad?
Well, it's a little bit distracting.
You sound like a robot.
Can you go to your laptop microphone?
Yeah, 1 second here.
Sorry, we didn't get a chance to test this before the show, so no problem. But I think for the listener, it might be a little bit.
Yeah, let's try here. Hello.
Hey, that's good. That's good. Yep.
Okay, that's better.
Yep.
Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Josh, I know you just again, you're in terms of you were caught up in the last week, right?
Yes.
This season.
I started. I was Sunday, Monday. I was able to catch up on all the other previous episodes.
Okay, so just high level before we get really deep dive into tonight and sort of how this week is playing out. What's been your sort of hot take on this whole season so far? And then maybe I don't know if we'll go through all 16 cast members, but I would sort of like maybe to hear your highlights on who you're sort of got your eye on or who you think's maybe underwhelming the situation.
Yeah, no problem. So I just realized I forgot to move the light before I turned this on, but I'm sure it's fine. Well, here's the thing, right? I got, like just like Survivor, if anyone's ever seen the other podcasts, we do those other recaps, right? I didn't watch Big Brother for a very long time. I watched the season. I saw when Ian won, when he beat Dan. I saw the first season I saw was when Enzo was in the brigade. I know Bailey and Devon because they actually played the challenge. They played the challenge before. Bailey was on the most recent season, so I know them. I've seen what they can do in a sense. And I think that was in terms of the people I know. And then I guess Cody's brother, Paulie's also on the show, right? But I was very unfamiliar with the cast, very unfamiliar. And so I kind of looked at it, from then till now, speaking off the top of my head, not knowing every single season, obviously it seems like it could have been a much better cast. It seems to me what's happening is that, other than Janelle and Kaser risking almost getting voted out week one, getting the save and all that, or the safety suite, is that it seems to me that it's going to take a few weeks, I think, to weed out those non-all-stars, if you will. I think that's the deficit at the beginning of the season right now. I think that's my biggest take on so far.
Yeah, no, well, hey, fair enough. And like I've told you before and to the audience that I've seen about half. I've been watching since 15 every season, but anybody prior to 15, I saw the finale of 14. So I saw the last episode where Ian won. But that was my sort of introduction to Big Brother, but I haven't gone back and watched anything else. And so like characters like Memphis are very much mysteries to me. I don't know what to expect from him. I am not impressed. I don't know. All-star, I think you're right, is sort of a loose term. I think we've seen some of these players are not maybe living up to that caliber. I think with the challenges that come with COVID-19, I think you sort of take who you can get, who feels comfortable to go out. Plus, there was a whole scandal of pre-gaming that was before the game that possibly knocked out some of the best players ever.
At all. I'm sorry.
I don't understand why Janelle doesn't like me. I mean,
I don't understand why in a returning season you take that so seriously. I'm sorry. That makes absolutely no sense to me. I know you're supposed to they really want to hire whatever the circumstances were. That's ridiculous. If you're coming,
you're speaking to what I'm saying.
You should have wanted that. You should have wanted people to be talking beforehand, because then you hit the ground running.
Right, and we're specifically addressing the alleged infraction, or perhaps ratting out of Nicole Franzel of Derek Levasseur, the winner of BB16, who was potentially going to be on the season, and was Dan Giesling, the winner of BB12, I believe. Right? Is that right? Yeah. And so, but she kind of ratted them out to CBS that they were sort of pre-gaming, and I don't
absolutely.
You can judge them, but I guess that I think the other thing to say there is too that stuff just goes on, and so it just speaks to kind of the player she is. But
it's like saying that when the Patriots got caught for cheating for spying on a team. Every team does it. Every play, you know what I mean? Like, why would you do that and sacrifice? Because like if they were in it too, on top of having their other players as Memphis and Cody. The only thing I could say, the only positive of those two not being in is I guess you get to see Cody and Memphis not play second fiddle, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
They're allowed to shine, I guess.
I think that's more interesting. Like I think it's to throw two winners in with this bunch is kind of weird a little bit. because
True
like
enough.
I would, it's like to me, it's like either go all winners or don't.
Well,
You
if,
know,
if this season didn't pan out, which I think a lot of I'm assuming you guys as more hardcore fans can say, right? It's not the all-star cast you wanted, so just
in some cases it is. I'm happy to see certain players
because you're almost at the Survivor point where you could have enough winners for a whole cast, right? So why not?
Yep.
You don't want a full winners cast of Big Brother. It would not be a good
why
season.
would that be?
It just wouldn't be a good season. I don't think Big Brother. Okay, it's different than Survivor, guys. I mean, they need wacky idiot characters in the house. That's why Enzo's on the show.
Okay, fine,
make
a top 3 then. Okay, cap it a top 3 then, right? But like, you know what I mean? Like, they should in the future make up for this. Obviously due to COVID and stuff, right? But obviously, they got to make up for it somehow down the road,
right? Like, also, yeah, I agree with you, Jeff, that the fact that Survivor is different than Big Brothers. Most people who play Survivor know what Survivor is, know how to game it more, are more fans of the show. But Big Brother is largely made up of what we call recruits, right? Which are like, social media influencers, whoever the models and whatever, people who don't necessarily watch Big Brother. Usually, I think they prefer people who don't, because they want people to sort of come in and be sort of lost. And I think that's why, if you're going to pick a first boot to bring back, I think that's why we have David in this house, right? He's like he's savvy, and we kind of saw some good things out of him last year, but he's mostly kind of ineffectual, as we've seen. He's not a really good Big Brother player. The fact that he went out early,
you think experience, you think memorable, you think So, yeah, it's fair. That's a fair take for sure.
Big Brother's like king of the idiots. Okay, like that's usually who ends up winning the game.
Here's another way to put it, right? Is that the one, because going because like a challenge and then doing the Survivor and this is that it's much more family oriented. Like getting back to think about this, right? Getting back to the episode, right? Like no other show would have done what Ian's punishment was, because that was just ridiculous from an older viewing standpoint.
His having to do the dramatic scene with the robot.
Yeah, all those every time.
Again, that's part of Big Brother, and that's why guys that's why when you see a Big Brother player go play a Survivor, it's never like somebody like Ian or somebody like Christmas. It would be somebody like Christmas. But it wouldn't be like, it would be somebody who's like athletic, is good, will be good in the challenges in Survivor, and has some sort of savvy. That's why Caleb played, and Hayden, and players like this. They're not going to put Cole Anthony on Survivor, which they should. I'm not against it, but I understand they have every year in Big Brother, especially, they have roles that they want to fill, right? And
archetypes.
Archetypes. They need the big dumb jock, which is Enzo this season. They need the nerdy girl. They need usually there's a southern hick farmer guy. They have an archetype that they usually want to hit. They want a African American female or African American male. They usually do that. We have that on this season. We have they always have a blonde girl, always have a brunette girl. They go down the list. They always hit every single thing.
Certain types of people, and I think that in terms of these particular all-stars, but you know what? At the same time, I'm in this particular combination. There are certain players I definitely don't want to see be successful and win of this group for sure. But I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out. I think it's interesting, these particular people, maybe because they're not that good, or they're not really setting the world on fire here as much, right? It's kind of fun to just see this play out, but weeks like this I think are tough, because I am a fan of Nicole Anthony. I have her in our draft, and it's not looking good for her. David, while I don't have him in the draft, he's another player. While I don't think he's good, I don't think he deserves to go. I think Memphis has been particularly harsh and cruel, and I've never, like Jamil was saying last episode, this guy is sinking his game big time. Even though he's in this alliance, he was set up so pretty, and it's clear that they can't even talk to him about what's going on. His connections to Kesar and Janelle, while he spilled all the beans to them, it mostly freaked them out that he could jump to their side, that they trusted him enough to tell him that. was almost worse for him tonight. And then
he's playing individual. He's not playing the team game.
No.
Well, that's not modern Big Brother alliance style, right? Like even I don't like Jeff. You know more about the older seasons, but I don't think like in back in Dan Giesling's day, would Memphis be allowed to get away with some of the stuff he's getting away with, or what? Well, we'll see if he gets away with it, but he's doing it at the moment.
When he played with Dan, it was a lot like what Derek and Cody did, where it was like we tell each other everything, but then and that's what if you notice, that's how he tries to talk to Cody. So he has his like +1 that he wants to share information with, but he wants like a bigger alliance just for safety, right? But he doesn't actually really want to take that big alliance to like the final 6, you know? And he, which is also like, it's smart but stupid at the same time. Like there's a reason why he thinks that way, because he had success the first time of doing it. But at the same time, Big Brother, especially now, in the last few seasons especially, it's always who's getting a big alliance and hold it pretty much until jury, and then things might change a little bit, you know. And like, look at what Paul did. He took, you know, he was never in trouble. Look how what's her face one, Let's Go. That's she, you know, she was like never in trouble. You know, like
right.
This is how like they like, especially modern players like Tyler and Nicole Franzel view how to be successful in Big Brother. Whereas the fans don't want to watch that. The fans want to watch swings and they want to watch like the house blow up, but if you're in the house, you're not going to want to do that, because you're going to want to control the game as much as possible, right? Like that's like the whole goal. But at the same time, like I don't know, like I don't mind. I just want to see like not a big alliance just dominate, like especially in an all-star season. But
well, and I don't either.
I'm actually happy with what Memphis is doing as a TV viewer, but as a player, if I was in the house and I was in his alliance, I'd be like, "What are you doing?" You know, like for sure, I understand exactly why his alliance does it. Like, is like, why is he not backdooring Janelle or Kaser? Like, they clearly are coming after like Nicole Franzel, for instance, right? But I don't think Memphis gives a shit about Nicole Franzel. I don't think he cares if she comes or goes. Right? So
no, he sees the alliance as being led by Cody and himself.
Yeah.
They are the head of this alliance in his mind. But in Cody's mind, it's not that. Cody is more, it's more like him and Nicole are at the head of the alliance.
Well, I think Cody's trying to play both. He's trying to say like, all right, I have Nicole on this little end over here, and I have Memphis, right? But now he's starting to go, well, I have way more options through Nicole, because everybody is like Danny and Tyler, for sure, are kind of like in that group. Who's the other person in that alliance? Am I missing somebody?
Christmas. Danny.
Christmas okay, and Danny, yeah.
So,
and what's Christmas up to? She's in this alliance, but she doesn't seem to be a very active member of it.
She wants to do comps, apparently. That's the only thing that she's really said.
She's in the alliance for her muscle. So when she wins HOHs, they can control her HOH. That's why she's.
But we know how social of a player she is. This is very very odd.
Well, that is true, because she did pull in Ian, right? Even though Ian said he planted the seed, I think that what Christmas did with Ian was smart, because with Ian, just like Nicole F., you know, she's a winner. The only one, two winners, right? So that kind of puts, even though she's a big comp threat, Ian's more of a threat because he's won. So it's kind of like a shield. I think that was a smart play outside of her main alliance.
I think it was a good move for her. I agree. It was just, but it again wasn't good for the alliance. And this is like like modern Big Brother, especially alliances. The majority of alliances, recent seasons that I've seen, have had this big group think aspect to them, right? Where everybody kind of gets together and everybody gets on the same page very quickly. Level 6 in particular, during last season with Tyler was in particularly good at this. And it's odd to me that Tyler isn't invoking those lessons. Like, he knows how to run a good alliance, even if the other 5 maybe don't. He should be able to pull it together, but it doesn't seem like that's where his priority is. He seems where is Tyler's priority in this alliance? He doesn't seem to like Memphis, but that's kind of everybody. Well, he seems more closer to Danny, and
he seemed to not want David to go home. He kept saying that tonight.
Yeah, he was very much about keeping David around.
Well, that's because he can't trust Memphis. No one can trust, once again, because Memphis doesn't want to commit to anything, because in his mind he's playing an individual game, so he doesn't want to set in stone this alliance because I think that he's scared in a sense that if he puts Janelle or Kaser up, right, then there may be, people couldn't find out. Like I said, he's like you said before earlier, right? He's playing bookie. He's not playing bold, right? He's not taking chances, right? And that's his issue. And the reason he's floating in a sense, even though he's head of the household and had the veto, he's not committing. And now he's not committing. That six is done in my opinion. I don't think it's gonna last another 3 weeks.
No, does it even have a name, Jeff?
Sort of.
The commission.
It's
the commission, right?
Called the commission, but it was Memphis wanted to call it the unusual suspects at first, and then the CBS wouldn't let them use that.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah, because of the movie, and so.
Wait, why? Because of the movie? Oh, just rights?
Because of the usual suspects.
They're going to have to be called decommission from now on because they are falling apart. We'll see what is the remnants of this in the coming weeks.
Like the Roots. I like the Roots one better. Alliance.
Yeah. Oh, the root, which is Enzo and
or the root, that was called? Yeah.
Yeah. Because Enzo is not part of this six, but Enzo is very much under Cody's wing.
It seems that way. That's the thing. Like when I first watched the season, it almost seemed like Cody was doing what Memphis is doing and trying to just because everyone was coming to him and making deals. So he was kind of just, okay, I'm going to see how it kind of flies. I don't want to commit to anything, right? But Memphis is he's more vocal and people are approaching him more aggressively than Cody, I think, got in the first week.
Here's the deal. If Janelle or Kaser wins HOH next week, there's one person only that they should want out, and that's Cody. If they can get Cody out, the rest of that alliance and how strong they are will crumble because they don't have it. The Enzo is kind of with them too. So
and so is Davon and Bailey.
Right. So you need to split. You need to cut the head off the snake.
Right? No one knows that Cody's got two alliances. That's the issue, right? In their minds, they're probably still going to go for someone like Nicole Frenzel. They're not. I don't think they're going to go for Cody because they'll go for a move, but I don't think they'll go for that. I don't think.
I don't think you're wrong either. I think based on everything we saw tonight in this episode, it seems like Kaser and Janelle are much more focused on getting Nicole F out, and I don't necessarily think that's wrong. I think I would put up Cody and Nicole F if I were them. Those are the two obvious people to put up. And if one comes down, you put up probably whoever's next closest to them, probably Danny. But that's with us here on the outside with knowledge that they potentially don't have or aren't quite reading the situation right. It's easier from this side.
Yeah, but I got a question because there's one thing I wasn't clear on is this safety suite thing. So is it it's not the whole season, the room changes every few weeks, right?
Right. It will be again next week. We'll have it again.
3-week periods.
3-week periods, yes. And you can only play it once, right? So you have one ticket to use of the 3 weeks.
That's what I gathered because that's why I guess Memphis was pushing everyone this week so that next week there would be whoever's left would play it obviously themselves, right? But that's the thing too, right? So who didn't play, let's break it down, right? Because that would depend on the vote too, and whoever's evicted, right? So obviously Janelle and Kaser can't play it, right? Cody, Christmas, Ian, Bailey, Davon, they can't play it, right? So you've got, and David can't. So if Nicole survives, Nicole A, then she can play it. Memphis can play it. So that kind of saves Memphis this week, right? It's kind of the plan might work out. And then Danny, Nicole F, and Tyler. Tyler didn't play, did he?
Tyler is not. Tyler still has his
yeah. So those are the people then that would I think I got almost all of them. Right.
And yes, and as I was just thinking about all the people that are still to go, it just sparked me this whole conversation at the beginning with Memphis, Kaser, and Janelle at the beginning of this episode tonight. When he tells them that he put up Nicole A because she didn't play the competition, didn't play the safety suite. Not Nicole A.
No, she didn't play no, neither Nicole played.
No, I thought she did play, but she said she wasn't going to play.
No, she didn't play because Memphis told her to play.
Oh, okay. I thought she did play. Yeah. So yeah,
And just their
put up-
reaction, like they're just like, "What the hell?" And
Yeah, Memphis is. I think that was just a bunch of bullshit. I just think he put her up because he didn't like her. He doesn't like her. He doesn't get along with her. I think that's how Memphis looks at the game. Like he's like, I have my alliance. I don't care who goes home as long as it's not my alliance. And right now, his
and I don't need to get blood on my. That's why he won't put up Janelle though, because it puts him in the crosshairs.
Yeah, like it is too early, but like, see, that's the thing, right? Is that I think above anything else, in terms of from Memphis's perspective, he played the best move, which was not move the block, because, like, obviously as fans, we want to see him move the block and we want to see a blindside, right? But in the reality of the situation is, though, he said it. Like, why would he change his vote? That just changes his, like everyone's gonna, you know what I mean? So the damage is done. Why make, especially this week 2 is what I'm saying, in his mind. As a fan, we don't want to see that. We want to see, like you said earlier, the house blowing up and stuff, right? But he's playing safe because he doesn't want to show his cards. He doesn't, like he said, like he's not telling anybody anything, even his own alliance.
He doesn't have any cards.
He's holding all the cards. He's playing. What was I heard the analogy today that he's playing poker with Uno cards or something.
Like he doesn't have any cards. Like he has no specific person that he wants to go after, really. But he has people he doesn't want to go after. So that's kind of really what it comes down to. So he just wants to like get through the HOH week.
Yeah, it's like he wants it but doesn't want it.
Right. But he's playing so safe. He's playing badly. He's playing the opposite of safe. He's playing dangerously because he's alienated his whole alliance. We saw in the testimonials tonight. They're all Nicole. If Nicole, once Nicole F is done with you, she's never looking back. She's not coming back to Memphis unless she has to one day. He's like the only other person left in the house. But this, like he will become a pariah as soon as he is not in some position of power. And then he's going to find himself sort of really sorely out of it because he's kind of burned bridges. We'll see. Like maybe he falls under somebody's wing, but I very much in a minority alliance of some kind. But
Danny's the same way. She's not putting up with it. She's kind of there because they're 6 and it's safe, but she's not gonna. I don't think she's committed to Memphis at all. And be honest,
I think Memphis needs to align with Janelle and Kaser. Like that's what he should do. But he's not going to do that.
That's what they want, right? That's what I think they're trying to sell it to him, right? And they're like, he's like, maybe I was a little harsh with David in that nomination speech, and they're like, "Who you think?" But they're instead of like grilling him, they're trying to like flip him, right, and bring him over.
Yeah, and they're also trying to like tell him the truth. Like they weren't going to kiss his ass and go, "No, it was fine." They're trying to like get him to like see like, hey, like we're gonna feed you information and we're going to tell you the truth, right? And that counts for a lot in that house because when people are always lying to you, you're inherently not going to trust them, so and that's going to happen with his alliance. His alliance will lie to him, and then when that happens, he's going to go like, why am I with these people? Why don't I just go with the people that seem to be feeding me the information that seems to be truthful?
But will that does he fall back into Kaysar and Janelle's like sort of stronghold?
Well, I don't think I think
that's best case scenario for Memphis.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say this. Okay, tomorrow's the eviction night. Okay. Yep. So we already know so Memphis and the 5, and then there's the 5 others for so Memphis can't be in. There's 5 people up for so. What is that? What would that be? So 5. How many people are in the house? First of all, 16.
15 now.
15 now. So after tomorrow night, 14.
Yeah.
Right. So essentially, they have almost a third shot, right? In that alliance getting the the HOH again, right?
Right.
Kaysar and Janelle either get it hypothetically, right? Yeah. Memphis, in a sense. I think has no choice but to join them.
Yeah, if they trust him enough to even bother.
He's not going to though. He's going to just try to lay low and hang out with Cody and talk to Cody about what they want to do and how they want to vote. That's how he played it with Dan too. Like him and Dan would just get together, decide what they wanted to do, and vote people out, kind of as a pair. They didn't form this giant 6-person alliance. But that's what's working lately in Big Brother, which it makes Big Brother really frustrating to watch because it immediately makes the cool kids against the losers. And that's what happens every year on Big Brother. And it's infuriating because, you know, you're like Dave, you always say you want to cheer for the underdogs, but then the underdogs are always at a disadvantage, always.
But but the problem is the underdogs, these people who are like the losers, like they what they should do is rally together. Like even if you're a minority alliance, you win power, you can still like, you know, have a comeback, right? If you stay true to your alliance. But the problem is, at least maybe not this season, but in other seasons, you've seen that sort of group that they're always eager to sort of be in favor with these people in power, because they hate it is individual at the end of the day, and they don't want to be put on the block and whatever. So they try to like suck up, and many of them sort of fall into the spell. But that's kind of the problem about the whole thing, right? You want just get together, like know that you're better than this. That you don't have
to see
play that 2-person style. That's his problem. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's why I want to see players like Devon and Bailey, who have played recently, understand that they were the ones that got ousted early when they played because they didn't realize the fact that who was in the big alliance and who was not. This should be like Big Brother 101. And the only players that seem to understand this are Janelle and Kaser, the people that played many, many years ago. So, like, they're the ones that have figured out who's aligned with who. You saw it tonight. Janelle goes, yeah, like Christmas and Nicole and Danny, they're all together. And Cody, those 4 people are absolutely 100% together. And Memphis knows this. But are you tighter with those people than they are with each other? Does he really believe that in his head? I think he thinks he's tight with Cody. But Cody will drop you no problem. He will get rid of you.
Yeah, right.
He's
no beast mode cowboy.
Yeah, you are the new beast mode cowboy right now, Memphis.
Well, yeah, maybe he is the new beast mode cowboy. Who they kept around to the final 3 or 4?
They kept him around a long time, yeah, and I think Memphis just I would not be surprised if Memphis goes to the final 2 again and loses like big in a big way, because nobody's going to really respect his game if he keeps doing this. Now, if he goes and aligns with big name players and really starts controlling things with those players, then the narrative will change.
Yeah.
I think that tomorrow, because like you look at once again, like you got the 6-person alliance, and then you got Cody who's in that, plus the alliance with Bailey, Devon, and Enzo, right? And and realistically, like you said, Dave, or like Jeff, there's so many people. Like there's a number of people that are at disadvantage because like Kevin, Nicole and David, if they come back, right? Whenever one stays, I mean, and or like even Janelle and Kaser, because they're on the outside, right? This is the problem. Like it's your world. Like I said earlier, like I said at the beginning of the thing, we're waiting for those weeding like lower people to be weeded out, which is unfortunate because we shouldn't have to wait, Right.
But like Memphis should realize at a certain point, hopefully, that these people that are in his big 6-person alliance that he formed or whatever are not really going to have his back. And hopefully when that happens, he outs to them to the Baileys, the Devons, the Ians, these players. And when that happens, then you will see a real shift in the house,
Well, I don't think he will. He's not going to have that chance because he's not even, like you said, he's not building the trust. He hasn't built any trust with this 6-person.
Right.
Nobody but Cody really trusts him.
But they'll, like, word gets around in that house, and if Nicole starts talking to Danny or whoever, like in her alliance, and then one of those persons says it to Devon, Bailey, or Kevin Campbell, that's going to get around, and so we'll see how good this alliance is and if they can keep their shit together, because if I feel like they can't. I feel like the alliance of 5 is much better than the alliance of 6.
But it will be completely exposed now, right? Because like if Memphis does get ousted from it, either if he's evicted, they'll probably try to like keep him pacified for as long as possible before he's dropped. But he could potentially burn them all down on the way out,
right.
And just exposing them. And then once they're exposed, they're vulnerable.
He was a partner with Dan, right? Dan was always a go out of style kind of guy. So, he'll do the same thing. You're right.
Dan was really good at playing possum. Dan was really good at letting everybody blow up while he read a book and just tried to pretend that nothing's really going on. Nothing really bothers me. That's how Dan played.
Oh, I was just thinking of Dan specifically, but
that's in season 14, not when he played with Memphis. that he was a much flashier player in 14. If you go watch Dan Gieseling in season 10, he plays a lot like Cody, very similar. Like, like just kind of goes along to get along, tries to stay under the radar, and then make a move when he has to. And that's what Cody was saying tonight, like to do the back door would have been smart. That's something maybe Dan would have done, maybe not this early, but that those are the type of things that you need to build a resume for yourself in order to win the game. But at the same time, you can't be like the front runner of an alliance and everybody know it, because once that happens, you're numero uno to go home.
We got a comment here from a viewer, from Mary Bass Atkins. I just don't understand. They keep saying Janelle is lying.
About what? About what?
The four people she thinks are in an alliance.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what tends to happen when you tell the truth. Everyone calls you a liar.
Yeah, in the Big Brother house, the truth is a lie and a lie is a truth, and that's kind of how it works, because it's all acting. It's all like who is better at convincing people that they're the one that are bullshitting, right? And then when that happens, when whoever's really good at it, like a Janelle, right? She was able to really quickly figure out who's aligned together. All she had to do was walk in on one room, on one conversation, and everybody, started talking about nothing. That's all it takes, guys. Like, you just have to walk in a room, figure out who's like starts talking about ice cream by the time, within 10 seconds of you walking into that room, and then that those people were talking game. And that's what happened. And Kaser and Janelle know it. They're a pair. They're going to be aligned to each other, but they're out in the open. Everybody knows Kaser and Janelle are together. Whereas once like Kevin Campbell finds out that there's this like Tyler and Christmas and all these people were in an alliance together and they didn't include them, well, then they're going to know, and I hope that we don't get one of those 5 people win HOH tomorrow, because if that happens, then we're getting another week of this. And
yeah, that's what I want that. No one wants that. The only other thing that would actually the best would be if I'd say probably if Devon won or something, because she'd light up the whole week. I think that'd be pretty funny.
I'd love to see Devon or Bailey win it, because then you're going to see Janelle and Kaser go hard at trying to convince them more than Memphis what to do. Because they knew Memphis wasn't coming after them. Janelle knew right when he won HOH that they were pretty good, because Memphis knows that Janelle and Kaser are the 2 most popular people in the house. They knew going in that those 2 people were going to be fan favorites. So Memphis doesn't want to be the villain. He doesn't want to be the person to go after those people. I get why he isn't doing it, because I would probably be reserved to not do it as well. I would be like, well, then everybody's going to hate me for the rest of the season, especially if I take Janelle out, because Nicole doesn't like her, I
don't, but let alone if my alliance hates me, but he doesn't think that's important right now.
I don't think he gives a crap about his alliance. All he cares about is his alliance with Cody, and that's it. And I don't think he's really tightly aligned with Christmas or tightly aligned with Tyler.
No,
in fact, those people don't trust him.
That's all he said, like a protective layer. That's all he called it, whatever it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't care. He wants to be, I guess I didn't watch the season, but he wants to be the Derek, I guess, right? Or the Dan, right? Like he wants to be the better of the 2, because he was the lesser half.
Yeah.
But I think that in Memphis's mind, that's what's yet to be determined, right? Who will be the greater of the 2, of Cody and Memphis? Like they're alpha male types, right? So they're just trying to establish that dominance. That's their archetype in some ways. Even though they're actually betas, both of them in their respective seasons. So at least they were second place finishers.
I think they're more like
right? Because without Dan and Derek not going back, they kind of had a chance more to shine, right? And it's like, who's going to do better in that spotlight?
Also, okay, here's the deal. With Nicole Franzel, she goes, I just don't understand why Janelle doesn't like me. You know exactly why Janelle and you 2 don't get along. You were talking shit about Janelle before the season started, because Janelle wrote an article saying that you didn't deserve to win Big Brother 18, that Paul deserved to win, and that's who she would have voted for. And so Nicole doesn't like Janelle because of that. Okay, so why don't you just say that? Why do you gotta like try and convince me that you're woe is me? Oh, I don't know. I don't get why Janelle doesn't like me. I haven't done anything to her. But because you talk shit about her. That's why.
Well, this is. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, why is she playing the victim? I don't know why she that's her MO all the time.
This is classic Nicole Franzel gameplay. This is what she does. Like whenever she's like just hearing that her name was thrown out there by them, right? Like this is how she'll sort of try to scramble and make sure that the target's not on her. She'll just try to reassure herself like this. But she always approaches each conversation like, "Oh my god, they don't like me, and I'm such a why me?" Like and but it's not genuine. She doesn't mean it. It's more about just sort of like whining enough that you will sort of say like, leave me alone, it's not you, or something like, don't worry whatever Kaser or Janelle threw out, right? Like, and so I don't know, it's effective maybe for her. It seems to be a tactic she's used in the past, and results speak for themselves. But yeah, that's what she does. Question here: do y'all ever feel like the producers tell them not to JK JK on the block? Janelle and Kaser. Well, it's not unprecedented.
I don't think they directly tell them, but I do think probably what they do say is like, hey, like they would do leading questions like, hey, how popular do you think Janelle and Kaser are on the outside of the house right now? Like, do you think that's a big deal? Like, like that they're old school, like they played so long ago, and everybody like, stuff like that. So it gets it in their head like, oh, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't go after them because then everybody's going to hate me, So I do think that's might be a way they influence it. I don't know if they directly tell them that, though. I don't know if they would do that, but they might. It wouldn't be the first time the production did something dirty like that. They definitely have favorites that they want to keep on the show because they want as many viewers as possible. They want to keep people engaged, and to have a Janelle or Kaser go out, and then we have to watch, Kevin Campbell and Bailey for the rest of the, like I love those guys, but they're not bringing in the viewers. Is
it possible? I think is it possible like the producers tipped off Janelle and Kaser last week to play in the in that safety suite? It's possible. It's possible. Not. It's possible. Like because
are they constantly bringing them into the diary rooms and stuff. Is that how it works in there?
Yes.
Yeah, you go into the diary room. Everyone gets their confessional, and like I don't fully understand how it works. I think you're not just looking at like a screen asking you questions, right? There's actually someone talking to you directly, right, and asking you questions.
Yeah, they don't see them. They're on like another side of a wall, kind of like an intercom buzzer or whatever.
Well, it'd be like a Julie situation, right?
Yeah, sort of like that. Yeah.
But they're able to feed them lines, so there must be some kind of teleprompter and something there, too.
Yeah, they probably have a teleprompter, yeah, for sure.
Well,
yeah, and they feed them lines.
When you see like Enzo come out for the veto, like obviously whatever he's supposed to say is scripted, right? Yeah. Like everything, so they obviously there are several moments in every single episode. Whoever is HOH leading the veto comp, like they're told these, what I mean? They especially Devon last, emphasize, you got to really bring it. You got to bring that, So yeah, I'm not surprised if they would slip something like that in during one of those sessions.
Yeah, so I imagine like a Danny. Star, right?
So
I would imagine like a Danny tonight would have went into the DR, would have wrote something down like about Memphis, saying, "Hey, you're telling people they aren't rookies, but you're the one making the rookie mistakes." Like when she said that, I'm guessing she probably went in the DR, probably wrote that down, they put it on a teleprompter, and then she recorded it, right? Like so, there's stuff like that happens in the DR. Like not all of that stuff is like genuine. Like it's not. It's like rehearsed. It's like it's pre thought out before they actually perform it in the DR. Whereas in Survivor, when they take them to do the confessionals, they're kind of just asking them questions and then they're getting their honest reactions. Now, sometimes in Big Brother, they come into the DR, they know what they want to say. Like tonight, like Janelle, she came into the DR, she knew she wanted to say like, we're trying to like take out Nicole, I don't trust her, like stuff like this. Like she would have known she wanted to say that in the DR. And then Nicole, they probably asked Nicole, well, why do you think like maybe like some of the house guys maybe don't like you, or like what's going on with Janelle? Like they probably asked her because like it comes up, right? And then that's when you get the, oh, I don't understand why Janelle doesn't like me, like type stuff, right?
Yeah, they're stirring the pot in a sense from wherever they are. Because obviously that's the thing, right? Is that as much as you have all these people in the same house, and you think they, there's not going to hear everything, right? So you got to kind of have to, poke and just in certain ways to keep keep it going, right? Because this is live, right? This is week to week. This is not like the whole season is done and you have time to edit and make it the way you want. You're on the fly, it seems here. Like you're trying to get, and every, you get the cast in, you have, like, as a production, you have an idea of we want so and so, or so, like the best odds of what's going to get us the best ratings towards the end.
Yeah, but I think however they try to influence things, it's pretty minimal, but also not like I know that for sure they will ask questions to them in the diary room, which is giving them information indirectly.
Well, if it was a problem, then it would have, like, some previous cast member would have said something by now.
Right? Well, they have, but they're also under contract not to reveal those things. Like they can only talk about what goes on behind the scenes so much. They've been on many podcasts, many former Big Brother Survivor players, and there are certain things they can talk about what happens behind the scenes, but there's certain things they're definitely not allowed to talk about. And this is one of them. And so certain players who have like burned bridges and things like that have sort of come out of over the years and said certain things that do go on, that how production sort of is a puppet master in certain ways, but for better or worse, probably worse in most cases. They just don't. But sometimes, like when a Caitlin Herman, who played, did this puzzle one time to stay in the house because they wanted her to stay in the house, but it was the easiest puzzle she could have probably done in, what was it, 60 seconds or something? Like it was just like build like a 8-piece puzzle quickly. Right, and she fell apart, and that was it, and she was gone. So whatever they say is going to happen, they have to follow through with. There's certain things that they're just stuck with because it's on air. We got a comment here from Jameel Robinson. He goes, in the past, people feel their game has been exposed via sharing in the DR.
Yeah, for sure. But that's definitely happening right now. That's like what Janelle is trying to make occur. She's trying to blow up she knows there's a big alliance, and she's trying to make the DR make that alliance not trustworthy of each other, distrust each other. And it's working because Memphis isn't willing to, pull the trigger on helping his alliance out. And as a fan, I'm happy he's not, because I would much rather a David or Nicole Anthony go than a Janelle or Kaser, because I don't want that alliance to have too much power in the house. I don't want them to be controlling everything, because they have all the comp beasts on their team. So we need the other people to win a competition coming up and hopefully do the right thing. But the only way that's going to happen is if Janelle makes people draw lines in the sand. Like Memphis had the line tonight. I don't want to draw lines in the sand too much. But the fact is, Janelle and Kaser know where that line is. And they know who's on their side and who's not on their side. And that once that occurs in the next week or two, hopefully it's really good TV. I have high hopes because I don't see like Christmas, Nicole, Danny, and Tyler breaking up, and Cody breaking up their alliance. Memphis can make that alliance a big target, if he wants, and
what will happen to Cody when he gets exposed as part of this alliance? Is he still in with Enzo and Devon and Bailey?
I think he's definitely in with Enzo. Whether or not he'll be in with the other two, like that's the problem. They say like Devon or Bailey wins the HOH next week. They're not going to go after Cody, but hopefully they go after like Christmas and Tyler, because those are the players I'd want out personally. Not only are they good at competitions, but like they're good at like getting, like both of them basically got to the end of the game, and they did that because they just created this solid alliance, and they never they wouldn't waver off their big alliance, and I wouldn't want those players around. Like I want players that would go back and forth, because when the chips are down and out for you, you need movement in the house. When people just, this is the way it is, and you're going home, and that's not fun for the audience, and that's definitely not good when you're on the bottom end of that.
Right. Yeah, for sure. No, I thought that we had another comment there, but we don't. Okay, so I think we've kind of talked about this episode as it aired tonight. Jeff, did you want to get into any spoiler talk tonight? Is there any spoiler to talk? Because we have the live eviction tomorrow. And so maybe we can talk about maybe the way the vote is looking right now. But I just want to give a full spoiler warning to Josh as well, if anybody wants to drop off here.
How do you know what do you mean by spoiler? What's the if it's live eviction tomorrow? What spoiler do you have?
Well, just in terms of live feeds and what sort of is the chatter, like how is this vote looking? Like it might go, how might it shake out tomorrow? So like we might be able to get some intel on that from the live feeds. But I just wanted to sort of give, but that and they might show that tomorrow on the episode. So if you don't want to see something they might show tomorrow or hear about that, then it's better to drop off.
I mean,
fair enough.
we could just speculate.
I'm for full reality surprises, so I won't watch it past this on the YouTube if I take a look. But I appreciate it, boys. Appreciate the courtesy of letting me know. I should be back tomorrow if Jamil will let me squeeze in right behind him, not just say.
Oh, well, I can't speak for Jamil, but I hope so. I think we'll have the four of us. Hopefully, I hope he's back tomorrow. That we can talk about the eviction.
So
Will it be?
I'm not your replacement. I'm a fill-in. So don't think for a second.
Oh no, no. Like you're one of the correspondents, Josh. And as well, I wanted to just ask you before you drop off, who is your prediction for eviction?
Nicole A.
Nicole, you think the votes will fall to Nicole?
I'm gonna go just by the simple fact, like what Jeff said, and it's just the cool kids versus the rest, right? And if David's in with Tyler, then I think that pretty much seals it. Unfortunately,
it's pretty much exactly what's going to happen. I think.
I think it is what it is. It's kind of obvious that's my take. Thanks, Jamil. Appreciate it, buddy. Okay, well, you guys talk your spoilers, and we'll see how it does break down tomorrow. But I think it's pretty obvious. There's nothing really to think about, right? Especially after the veto, you didn't change anything. Yeah, boys, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. I think it's what's going to happen.
Thanks, Josh. We'll see you tomorrow night. We'll be talking the eviction. All right, looking forward to it. Take care. Bye. Okay.
Okay, you want some?
All right.
Quick spoiler ideas right now, because okay,
hold on. Let me put the warning on the scroll. These are big spoilers. Here we go. All right. So we're talking what's going on in this house. Now, I do know a little bit, Jeff. I've heard some things.
Okay, what do you know?
I know that Kesar and Janelle are making a big push to save Nicole A.
Oh,
Not that that's a huge spoiler. We kind of saw that tonight in the episode, but that they've been able to get a few votes. They've been working on Ian. They've been working on. They think they have Christmas. Apparently, they don't. I heard. She's telling them that she'll vote as well, and they think that they can get a couple others like Bailey and Devon, but even they're being sort of skeptical, and that it ultimately they think that the best case scenario that they can tie this vote, and they think that Memphis will vote to keep Nicole Anthony, but that's not a certainty either way, but it's likely. I don't know.
I think he likely as well. I think he'll take out David
because after everything he said to David. Why wouldn't he want to get David out?
He knows he's his enemy. Nicole Anthony, probably like Janelle and Kesar said to him, she probably won't come after you.
Mary, you're always let us know what you think. Give us the hot takes. We always like hearing from everybody. So keep them coming.
Yeah, if you ever have any questions, feel free to send them on over. Right now I think it could be a 6-6 vote. Let's just go through the votes though. Okay. Okay, so we got our 5 people that are in the alliance. Okay, so we know pretty much are going to vote for Nicole Anthony. So that's Tyler, Christmas, Nicole Franzel, Cody, and who's the other person in the alliance? I'm forgetting. Danny. Those 5 people are probably going to vote to evict Nicole Anthony. Okay.
Yes, almost certainly.
So that's 5. Kesar, Janelle are going to vote to evict David, probably, right?
Yes.
So they need. How many? There's 7. So there's 6. There's 12 votes, right? So that's
right.
only.
Where's Enzo's vote going? Where is
Devon, Bailey, right? Those 3
and
people.
Enzo probably vote together. Like if they're in, either they're going to vote with the majority, which is probably what the 3 of them want to do, and don't forget that Cody has influence with those 3. So you
Sure.
you have to even getting those 3 votes is tough. But then you also have to get Ian. You also have to get some member of their alliance, even to get a tie, right?
So say Enzo votes with Cody, right? So that's 6. All the other
And
people
I think
would have to,
if Enzo votes with Cody, I think it's over.
not necessarily, because then that's only 6. There's 6 other votes. So Kaser Janelle, Bailey, Davon, Ian, and Kevin Campbell could all vote together to tie the vote if they wanted to.
And I don't see Kevin Campbell as being sort of in with them. Like he's a floater. He wants to be in again with the cool kids. That's how he kind of plays. He's sort of a victim of that because you saw how much Cody just intimidates him because he's a perfect Greek god or whatever he is to Kevin.
Yeah, but he also said he was going after Cody, so like he's an erratic player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's necessarily I don't think he's like an easy to read person. Well, that's possible. Ian could vote with Nicole Franzel, but that doesn't mean he necessarily definitely will. He's really good friends with Nicole Anthony. Nicole Anthony and him get along great. I don't know how much of a relationship Ian has with David, and I think that might be what ends up hurting David. Is nobody really is friends with David because they don't really know him. Like he
except for Nicole.
Anthony knows them. So yeah, they played the same season and they're on the block together, which would suck for them. But who has more relationships? Probably Nicole Anthony, just based off the fact that she's been around the Big Brother community more than David has.
She came 3rd. She's definitely more notable and she's way more popular. She won America's Favorite Player, right?
I think so.
Yeah, right. So like and David's well liked too. He's popular, but he's not as popular as she is. And I just think that they feel more connection with her, but they also see her as more of a threat because she is so good at. I don't really understand why she's the big target of these two. Like I understand that she's not with them. I guess David's just why would you get rid of him? Is probably what they're thinking. If you're the Cody alliance. Anyway. But right now, Jeff, do we have a report? Do we have a sense of how this vote is going to go? Is there any sort of sense? Like, will it be a tie? Will they be able to pull this off? Or is it pretty much Nicole Anthony's going tomorrow?
I think it's too close to call. I think it'll really come down to, apparently Cody's been mulling over whether or not he wants to take out Nicole Anthony and whether or not he would want to keep, why would he want to keep David is kind of what he's been mulling over. And he said to Nicole Anthony, if you stay, it won't be because of Janelle. So he's trying to not make Janelle the hero for her. And if somebody's going to be the hero for her, he wants it to be him.
And if he's saying something like that, then, well, I guess it doesn't matter because if she goes, she goes. It's not going to matter if he says that. And because he doesn't know how to play
Cody can decide who.
Yes.
Yeah. I think Cody can decide who goes home this week. Pretty easily. But why does Cody or want to get rid of Nicole Anthony? Like, what's the reason?
Why does Cody want to get rid of Nicole Anthony? Well, because I don't know if he does. I don't even know if this. I think if Cody had his druthers, he would have had Memphis put up Kaysar and Janelle, but that's not what happened. So they're just trying to figure out who is more of a number for someone who's against me, and I guess they're identifying that's Nicole Anthony because I guess what's David going to do? He hasn't shown his ability to sort of rally anything, get in with anything. He's probably a lame duck. He's a goat to take to the end, right? So they must be eyeing him a little bit like that.
Sometimes you want to get those players out because you don't want people that are easily manipulated and that you can control, because when they're not on your side, it sucks. And that's why I wouldn't want Christmas in the house because she's just she picks an alliance, she just stays with it, that's just how she plays, and I just don't want to watch that. I would much rather watch players that are malleable, that will flip flop. Dave Vaughn's usually pretty good at this, but it's gotten her trouble both times that she played, and that's why she went home both times. So they're kind of taught and bred not to do that and to form a big alliance, make everybody understand that when they're going home that you don't talk to them about game and you just kind of shun them. But that's not really what's going on this week. Right now, it kind of seems like Nicole Anthony is she's putting in more work than David. Not a surprise. David doesn't really know what he's doing. He's kind of only having emotional conversations with people like
he's
Kevin.
Never had to campaign before.
No, this is his first time. He's going up against somebody that he played with, sure, but went much further and understands how to campaign. And she has also people on her side that kind of want to keep her rather than keep David, because David's just not useful. Like nobody knows who's his alliance with, who's he with.
What intel are you going to get from David?
Yeah, like what? He is of no use, not to the big alliance or the small alliance. So
he seems like but Tyler wants him. I don't think it's just because he likes David. I think Tyler wants him around because he thinks he can use him.
I think Tyler wants him around because he knows he sucks at the game, and he knows he can control his vote most of the time.
Yeah, he can use him.
He doesn't think that about Nicole Anthony. Nicole Anthony's a strong-minded person. That
he won't be able to manipulate Nicole Anthony. He knows this.
That's why Tyler wants her out. But that's why players like Janelle want to keep her, because they need somebody that can feed them information. David is probably not going to feed them crap. And, so Davon should know this too, and Bailey. They really should understand this, and it really comes down to why is Davon and Bailey and Kevin Campbell and Ian not talking to each other about the fact that, and Janelle, why is Janelle not telling those 4 people, hey, those people are aligned together. So if we just kind of continue down this path, we're going to get picked off one by one. That's what's going to happen. So you have to strike back, but it starts with winning an HOH. It won't happen until an HOH is won.
Right. Yikes. Okay. Well, I need the other side of the house to win HOH next week, or hopefully we'll get the HOH tomorrow night. We'll see. Any other spoiler talk you want to hit up?
Just Nicole was kind of giving Cody a hard time on the hammock. How many alliances do you have?
Nicole who?
Nicole Franzel. She was like, once Janelle and Kaser are gone, I'm going to have to do all the dirty work, she said to Cody. And Cody says, that's okay with me. I had to do it for Derek, she said. Nicole laughed. Cody says, no, we'll find people to do that dirty work. I've been sprinkling stuff to Memphis so he can do it when the time is right. So they want to use Memphis to do all the dirty work. This is why I think what Memphis did was actually smart for him. I think he was smart not to get in the middle of starting, he doesn't want to be the face of the alliance. That's smart. Don't be the face of the alliance. Put that face on somebody else. Put it on Nicole Franzel or put it on Cody.
Is that why Nicole is not happy? That's why
of course, yes. Because
now she's been identified because Kaser and Janelle named her, right?
That's right.
So now everybody's like, yeah, it's the Nicole alliance, it's the Nicole Franzel alliance, right?
Right.
It's not the Cody alliance. It's not the Tyler alliance or the Dan. Everyone will just pin it on her, and she's got to hate that.
Oh, she's infuriated, and then that's why she was crying to the DR about how Janelle hates her. And Janelle knows how to play this game. She knows how to make sure if she wants somebody out, make them the face of the big alliance. And that's what that happens a lot in Big Brother, because eventually the face of the big alliance goes home, because you got to go after somebody, and it might as well be the person that you think is the head of the snake. And I know a lot of people said it was Nicole Franzel. I personally think Cody's the one who's playing every.
Oh, it is Cody, but it's also her. She's she's right under that. She's second in command of that alliance, right? And of all of and then Memphis is in it and whatever, but it's clear that there's different levels. They're not all equal. There's definitely tiers. And it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out, because Nicole does not like being the person out front. She likes to sneak under the radar, pretend like she's so innocent, naive. What are you talking about? I didn't even know, right? She's very I know this type of person and very well, and it's very transparent. And I guess sometimes I wonder, does Nicole hope that she'll just cry in the diary room, but these are fake cry, these are false tears, these are crocodile tears. Does she think all her fans are going to call up and say, don't tell them to stop being mean to Nicole Franzel? Tell Janelle to stop being mean.
Oh, there are.
I bet you she does.
Bitch, and think Janelle's going after Nicole Franzel and all this kind of stuff.
And as much as you and I don't like her, Jeff, it's even worse for on social media. Go on Twitter, and it is
Oh, yeah.
bad. And like I've seen like Amanda Zuckerman come out and defend her, and I know that like anything we can say, there's people who will say 10 times worse, right? Just because it's
Sure. I don't necessarily dislike her. As far as like, I just don't like people that are not genuine to the DR. It pisses me off. You know, if you're going to be that player, that's fine in the house, but don't convince me in your DR bullshit that you don't know what's going on and you don't know why Janelle doesn't like you. You
but her
know,
profession is social media influencer, and so I think right,
yeah,
like
exactly.
how much can you really trust anything she says anyway?
You
Like,
know exactly why Janelle doesn't like you. Be honest. Tell us why. People would actually start to be on your side more and start to understand where you're coming from. But when you lie and you make up this stuff where, oh, I don't understand why she doesn't like me, you know why. So just say it. Be honest. I can't, I think she's probably a perfectly fine person. I think I get along with her just fine in person. I think she's, perfectly nice. But I hate players in the Big Brother house that lie to me in the DR. I don't like it on Survivor either. Like, you're not, why would I cheer for you? Well, like.
Mm-hmm. I hear you on that. I agree. Like how can you? is
You
almost the
can't.
question.
That's why like everybody's going for like Janelle or Kaser this season. That's why everybody like loves Dan and Will and those players. There's one reason. They were the best at being in the DR. They were the best at explaining their game to us, the audience. Right?
Yeah.
That's why so you can win the game and suck at that. Nicole Franzel's a perfect example. She sucks at it. She does no idea how to convince us what she's doing is like actually genuine and like she everything's kind of like a mistruth or crocodile tears, like you were saying. I just want a player like that's honest. Like at least Davon, like as much as she's too good in the DR, not good enough in the house. So that can happen too. But I'll take that over good in the house, dishonest or disingenuous in the DR.
Yeah, me too. You hit it right there. Like, what has been my issue with her, and it is because I just don't think she gives us good stuff in the DR. It's all about her image, and and fair enough, but like, it's hard to respect that. I just want we want. I think the Dr. Will Kirby's of the world. Like, even though I'm not familiar with his season, I understand that he was entertaining to watch because he was obviously playing one way in the house, but a whole different thing in the diary room, and that's what the diary room is supposed to be about. But but that was in a different time. In the age of social media and your legacy, it feels like, and these are players who know what it's like to get out of the house and sort of deal with any backlash, because everyone, no matter who you are, no matter how like sort of straight and narrow you play the game and how like innocent you think you are in that house, when you get out, somebody's going to hate your guts. Somebody's going to have been saying like just the worst things possible about you, probably. So it's just kind of par for the course. Like, does Nicole Franzel get it worse than most on social media? Yes, I would say she does. Is it earned? Somewhat, I think, but I never like sanction anything going too far. Like, if you criticize it for what it is.
Right, but she, like I said, because she's being disingenuous, she of course you're going to get the most vile and awful stuff, because Twitter is a cesspool of that anyway, regardless of when a show is on TV. Now, when a show's on TV about real people and real personalities, if you're disingenuous, people are going to rip you to shreds. And that's kind of like my like, people aren't probably doing that to Ian. People aren't probably doing that to like Enzo. Those guys are who they are. Like, that's like they go in the DR, they don't try and fake it. Like they're being pretty genuine of like who they are as a person. Whereas Nicole she seems to have this MO where she tries to pretend that she doesn't know what's going on, and she doesn't understand why people don't like her, and feels sorry for me all the time, which is just like, why are you trying to convince me as the audience member to feel sorry for you? I don't care. Like, talk to me about what you're doing in the house, why this person maybe don't like you, what you're going to do about it, You know, like she was all worried that, like in this episode about Memphis putting her up after the veto. So she had no like real idea what was going on as far as what Memphis was going to do. She was just like crossing her fingers and hoping. But just, you know, why not go up to Memphis, talk to Memphis? Like why are you like go hide in a corner and just hope it works out your way? Like I just don't get that.
Yeah, it is weird, quite frankly, but we'll see. She can't go on the block soon enough, but I think she's gonna be a slippery one this year. Maybe not after tonight. We're gonna see how this plays out. Okay, so and we got one more question. We got a question here, Jeff, from Murray Johnny. Is Nicole safe this week? And
Nicole,
we were just
Nicole
saying,
Anthony?
Yeah, it's gotta be Nicole. Or you mean for next week? For this week, we're saying it's likely. We gotta think it's probably Nicole Anthony.
It could be close. It depends. It depends on if Enzo and Davon and Bailey get on the same page with Janelle and Kaser. If those 5 people can get on the same page and then bring in Ian, it'll be a tie vote. Or they could take the vote if Kevin Campbell comes too. So all those people need to vote to save Nicole Anthony. If because Tyler's voting to save David, right? So and he's gonna whatever Christmas Tyler does Christmas, I think will do. But Cody, like who I don't really know who Cody wants out. Who do they want out this week? I don't really know. Other than I think Nicole Franzel wants Nicole Anthony out mainly because her name is Nicole. You know?
Yes. Yeah, you see the hug like in the credits tonight where like the 2 Nicoles hugged.
No,
and Nicole Frenzel was just like as soon as possible I can get out of this hug. So she has animosity in some level, I think.
Oh,
that's what I read. That was my read on the slow-mo body language.
Well, that's true because that goes to the Nicole Anthony has a podcast, and Nicole Franzel and Danny both ghosted her, and they've been laughing about it behind her back in the house. So, like and like they were talking about it, and they were acting like they were the people that should be mad, even though they ghosted Nicole Anthony. Nicole Anthony was the one that should be mad about that. Like. This is the problem with the Cool Kid Alliance. They think they're better than everybody, and they think and the fact is a lot of times they will win the HOH, and it'll be infuriating. This happens a lot in Big Brother, and a lot of the underdogs I don't have a lot of faith in this season. I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of faith Kevin Campbell's going to be a mastermind, or Bailey's going to be a mastermind, or even Davon.
Kevin Campbell's holding on by his fingernails, right? Like he just wants to stay. He's so spooked from being on the block first that guy will do anything to stay around. He's not going to make any big swings. He's not going to join any sort of rebel alliance. He wants to be in the majority alliance or be an outlier. And I think he's happy in that spot. That's my read on him. We have to like the fans are holding on by their claws for Kaser and Janelle to stay because they're the only 2 players that have enough strategic knowledge to really break up a big alliance like this and the guts to do it.
Yeah, and the guts, because the rest of the players kind of suck. Ian's good, but Ian is a timid player. That's how he plays. Enzo will get in a big alliance and he'll ride it to the final 4 and he'll be gone.
Right.
Like
the would-be rebels are not very convincing. And who else we got? Day and Bay.
Yeah. This is why I keep calling out Davon. You're acting like you're in here to play. I haven't seen you do anything in this house other than just lay low and make sure it's not you. And I understand like that's what you should do at the beginning of a game. Like I'd probably do the same thing if I were them. I get it. But at the same time, you're not in the big alliance. You have to acknowledge where the big alliance is and then make plans to take that alliance out. I hope that happens.
I think another reality is, and it's not a huge criticism, but I think one of the realities of things is that the basically people want to make it to jury, because they're going to make more money. They're going to get even if they don't win the whole game, they're going to make more per week, right? I don't know how busy the acting coach job is, but I'm guessing she'd rather be playing a season, making whatever you make per week doing the show. And I think that, once you get to that jury threshold, you're sort of in for the foreseeable future, right? Until the end of the game. But if you get sent home early, that doesn't benefit her. I think that's got to be part of it. She's just hoping she could maybe earlier season Davon would have led the revolution against this, but I don't see her doing this right now. She's just happy to like Cody's sort of keeping her in his orbit.
Yeah, in the loop. But like, why is Cody like this? Like, why is he the person that is like the mastermind? He's the Tyler of this season. He's out Tylering Tyler.
He's out Tylering Tyler. It's because he's even better looking than Tyler. And he's even more athletic, right? So he's sort of like, that's why. Like, he is the alpha male among the alpha males, Cody. He's been that person his whole life. He knows how to be that person very well. Plus, he's got that whole Jersey, like, extra oomph to him, right? So
yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like, I so I don't know. I hope David goes home because I mean I just don't think he has a lot to offer.
The season
and the counter alliance that inevitably needs to be formed here, because I just know that the players that are in this alliance, Christmas, Tyler, Cody, Nicole, these players are not going to break their alliance, and because that's how they play. That's how they play.
Right. That's why they want Memphis out, because he doesn't fit with them. So,
no, yeah, he won't take the shot for them either. He wants them to take the shot, And they're like, honestly, I think it's actually really smart for him to do that, because Memphis knows if they come after him, he'll blow it up, and if they don't come after him, he's good. He's good either way, Yeah,
because they'll need him. The other side will need him. So
that's right. So if they go and want to try, the only way they should try to get Memphis out is to try to backdoor him. That's really the only way to do Memphis. If say Tyler wins HOH and he wants to take Memphis out, he should put up let's say it's David and Kevin Campbell and try to backdoor whoever. But he probably won't do that. He'll probably end up trying to put up like a Janelle and Kaser. So we'll see.
Yep. Okay. Well, we're gonna be back tomorrow night, everybody, for the Thursday live eviction, if you can call it that. It's the eviction week. We'll see, and hopefully we'll get the new HOH. I don't think they've guaranteed that, but it's always nice to get that on the show. And check that out. We'll be also on tomorrow night on our other channel, Live Long and Podcast, which is our Star Trek channel, and we're going to be covering the third episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, which in Canada here is airing on CTV Sci-Fi, but in the States, I believe, is on CBS All Access, and wherever you watch it, we're hoping you're going to check out that episode tomorrow. We're going to be talking about that. And we also have a whole bunch of other podcasts we do over there. Friday night, we're doing our radio theater podcast, where we're reenacting an episode of the original series. I'm playing Kirk. Jeff, you're the villain, I believe, or one of the villains of that episode. We're also going to be doing D Space Nine on Tuesdays, and original series we also do on Wednesdays, which we did tonight. But here on Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, we do all 3 nights of the week: Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday. So make sure to check us out. We always like the live comments, and we appreciate all the viewers live and after the fact.
Have a recent development here too.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave.
But we got a recent development before we sign off.
Janelle has been putting in work, and she has been trying to convince Davon that Memphis will definitely vote to evict David if Davon votes with them to save Nicole Anthony. And
why does Janelle know this? Or how can Janelle say this with any kind of certitude?
She goes, all right. Janelle says this: get the physical threats out of here. We have to, or we don't even stand a chance. Davon, you're sure if it came to a tie that he would vote him out? Janelle says 100%. Go ask him. Davon says, I told Nicole that David doesn't contribute to my game at all. Janelle says, no, he is with those boys, which meaning Tyler and those guys, right?
Yeah.
Davon says, she was like, quote, is it because you are friends, unquote? That's where everyone gets it confused. I don't know that man. It's my stance versus my game. Davon says, if we save her and she is pissed at you, how does that work? Janelle said, she's not that pissed. She has got paranoid because she feels like I didn't stand up for her. Right? So Janelle's put in work right now. She's trying to really save Nicole Anthony. Cody says, I'm 100% going to be a have-not. Kaser is picking me 1,000%. Christmas Janelle is saying that Kaser is going to pick her. Nicole wants to go first. She probably wants Kaser to pick her, so Nicole can't. Nicole has got to go first. So that's where they were talking. That's why so Christmas and Cody and those people really want Nicole Anthony out, right? So obviously, right? So.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, I hope they pull it off, but I bet you it's gonna be a scramble all day tomorrow and tonight, starting with tonight and continuing. Like it's probably gonna be one until they can talk about it. I'm sure it will be discussed.
They need to make sure they have Ian, and they if they could swing Enzo through Davon and Bailey, they would have the votes.
Yeah, I don't like. We'll see, but I bet you I give it at best a 40% chance. All right, that's it for tonight. Hopefully we'll hear from you tomorrow, and we're looking forward to that. So have